Hi everyone, welcome to another Wellness Wednesday. My name is Mary Grimm and I'm one of the wellness professionals at ECC. If you've been following along, you may have noticed we are covering our 8 dimensions of wellness. In week 1, Prem talked about emotional and social well-being. Last week, Vinny discussed physical and financial well-being. Next week, Corsair will be focusing on academic and occupational well-being. So today's focus will be on environmental and spiritual wellness. So join me today as I'm out for a walk in nature. We'll be hiking up that hill and then down the other side and also spending some time by the water while we talk about environmental well-being. So what do I mean when I'm saying that, environmental well-being? Well, we're talking about creating harmony with the earth through our role in it. Your environment plays a large role in how you feel and the overall balance of your well-being. And I'm not just talking about being in nature, although that's where we're at today, but any environment, including personal and social. Right now, with all of the changes, including social distancing, you may be at home. And home for some may be a safe and a calm place, but for others, it's not. I'm sure your routine has changed, and even if you're still working, it may be remotely, or if you're in an essential field, it may be more demanding than ever. So if our environment is chaotic or stressful, how do we cope with that? Well, first we need to pause and check in with ourselves. While this may seem obvious, it's a crucial step that's often overlooked. Are you tense, irritable, walking on eggshells, exhausted? It certainly can seem overwhelming if your environment is stressful. So take a moment now and observe your environment, being mindful of your senses. Is your environment loud? What does it smell like? What do you see as you look around? Is there anyone else in your environment? Are they positive or do they tend to bring a negative energy? Now, how are you feeling? Relaxed, on edge, annoyed, happy, upset? What reaction is occurring as you are within your environment? How are you responding? So now that you've observed your environment, what can we do to create harmony and balance? Would it be that your physical space needs to change? Remember, it's important to take time to care for your environment. So if your space is cluttered or dirty, clean and organize. Create a compost, garden, recycle, use reusable water bottles, add plants, reorganize furniture to create a safe and more inviting space. And would you change who you're in the space with? It may not seem as obvious, but the people in our environment directly contribute to our overall well-being. Are those people supporting of your dreams and goals? Do they build you up, or do they criticize you? Taking care of the environment also includes how you respond to other people. So how do you speak to those around you? Make sure you're creating a culture of respect as well. These things are really important to reflect on because it's going to show you how you can begin to create more balance. So now I challenge you. I challenge you in the midst of whatever environment you're in to begin to identify what you are grateful for. Perhaps it's the chair you're sitting in, the technology you have access to, fresh air, plants, electricity, the roof over your head and the walls protecting you from the elements, the humming of a refrigerator that means you have access to chilled fresh food and water. Perhaps it's someone within your environment that you care for, a friend, family member, partner, or pet. It's important to recognize privileges within our own environment. So, take a moment and write down, or at the very least, say out loud what you're grateful for. This is allowing positivity to enter into your environment and create a moment of reflection. So, for future practice, I would encourage you to take a step outside. Connecting with nature can do wonders for our well-being. Breathing in fresh air, exploring new sights, scents, and sounds can also contribute towards your spiritual well-being, but we'll get to that in a minute. Today, as you can tell, I'm outside. I'm grateful for the access I have to such a place and the ability to access this place and the awareness that comes from reflecting here. As you probably noticed, we are near water. I personally find a sense of peace and calm when I'm around the water, and I've felt this way for as long as I can remember. Because I know this about myself, I intentionally find time to welcome that into my environment. Whether that's walking to my nearest trail, traveling to a lake, the ocean, or a pond, I make this time for myself to reflect and recharge. Being aware of your environment is the first step in recognizing whether it's adding or taking away from your overall well-being. Then you can begin taking steps to create that harmony and balance. So, I pose this question to you. What can you do this week to make sure you're creating harmony and balance within your environment? Okay, stay tuned for our next talk on spiritual wellness. Hi everyone, and welcome to the second part of our Wellness Wednesday video. We are talking about spiritual wellness. Now, when I'm talking about spiritual well-being, I'm talking about you at your core, or what some might define as their spirit, and the connectedness then to something greater than you. And that's going to be different for everyone, and that's okay. It may be the universe, God, nature, animals, others, but then defining that purpose and meaning in your life, where you've come from, where you're going, and how all of that awareness and understanding then translates into how you're living out your life. Now, as I mentioned, it's important to point out that spiritual well-being and wellness is going to look different for everyone because it's a journey, right? And hopefully it's a journey where we are constantly learning more about ourselves and our connectedness to what we define as greater than us. Now, this is also a very personal dimension when we're talking about the 8 dimensions of wellness, and it can be one that's easy to push to the back burner because, well, we're busy, or we've had a bad experience in the past when we've tried to explore spirituality, or even just the thought of going on that journey makes us a little uncomfortable. So it can be really easy to not pay attention to. But what we do know is that spiritual wellness is important, and it's extremely important for our own well-being, just overall. We know that people who struggle with spiritual wellness, they often feel a sense of emptiness, even conflict between their own values and beliefs. They may be even really self-critical and condemning of who they are, and they also may really struggle with identifying different pieces of their meaning and purpose in this life. They may even often be anxious to constantly need to change themselves. On the flip side, we know that someone who is healthy in their spiritual well-being and feels more balance and harmony, they are often at peace. They are very set and secure in their beliefs and in their values. They have an acceptance of death, and they find meaning and purpose in their life. So if we know all these positive benefits, which, by the way, we have known for thousands of years, we know that our spiritual well-being and connectedness, when we have harmony in that we do feel better. In fact, research is just now really starting to dive deep into this area, and they've found that it reduces stress, symptoms of anxiety, depression, even lowers high blood pressure. So we know it's important. So how then do we improve our spiritual well-being? Well, just like we did with environmental well-being, we need to pause and to reflect. And that's really important, as easy as it sounds. But we have to start somewhere on that journey. Maybe we've never approached this before or really explored it. And now's the time that we have the moment to do that. So defining spiritual well-being for you and your connectedness. What is that greater than peace? Is it the universe, God, nature? And how then are we going to live that out and practice it? So start asking yourself questions. Where do I believe that I've come from? What are my beliefs and values? Where am I going? What is my purpose? What's driving me? And really exploring that on your own. And then if necessary, seeking out help from a mentor or spiritual advisor to help assist you and navigate the journey with you. And then the practice. Now the practice is the important piece because that is going to help you feel that connection to what is greater than you. And that practice, again, is going to look different for everybody. Maybe for you it's meditation, prayer, worship, fellowship with others, giving back to the environment, joining an organization, volunteering, dance, artwork, music, playing a musical instrument, whatever that is for you. use that and actively practice that in your day-to-day. So then that's the fun part. How do we, as a student, especially with everything that you are juggling right now, how do you find time to practice, putting into practice that connectedness that's going to fuel your spiritual well-being? Well, taking a look at your schedule and prioritizing. For some people, maybe it's 5 to 10 minutes in the morning spent in prayer and reading spiritual texts. Maybe it's meditation before you go to bed, or once a week or once a month for a couple of hours you're really involved in volunteering at that organization. Maybe it's joining a club on campus because their activities really align with how you practice and feel connected. Whatever it is for you, intentionally carving out that time so that you can start to better your spiritual well-being, which then will impact your overall well-being. If you need help doing that, or you find that you're stuck or struggling, we hope that you'll reach out to us at Wellness Services. Our contact information is in the post, and we hope that you reach out. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been great getting to chat with you, and stay safe and be well. Take care.